Hi. That's cool. The room is quite full. Welcome. Thank you very much. My name is Dmitry Trofimov. I'm a developer and team lead of Pycharm IDE. And this talk is called 42 Pycharm Tips and Tricks. Don't ask me why 42. It's just 42. But by coincidence, the last time I gave this presentation was at Python meetup in Munich, and it was exactly 42 features. But today we have a little bit more time, so it probably will be more tips and more tricks and more features I will show. My goal actually for today is like that everybody who is in this room today will come out with learning one new feature of Pycharm. So the bar is quite low. But first of all, the question, who uses Pycharm? Quite impressive, but not everyone. Hard to say, but most of people, but not everyone. But how, tricky question, how many of you who uses Pycharm more than 1 year? Okay, more than 3 years? More than 5 years? Okay. Oh, really? 5, okay. So you get a t-shirt. Come grab it at our booth. Yes, yes. Actually I will ask some questions during the talk, and some of them will be t-shirt questions, so we'll give t-shirts afterwards. And everything is broken, I suppose, right? No, it just went to sleep. Okay, the project that I will use today to show some tips, I start with a project which is called VMProf. Yesterday there was a talk by Antonio Cuni, PyPy developer, about PyPy status, and he mentioned VMProf profiler. So I decided to use this web service so I can show you this. It's a Django website which actually can show you the flame charts of your snapshots. And it's not very big, it's not very small, so it's open source. It's a very good candidate to show tips and tricks. Right, so we start. We grab this URL and we start in Pycharm by creating project right from the GitHub. Internet allows us to do that. Yeah, kind of. Yes, and we cloned it and we open. So first of all, that's a project, right? And we can go to some Python files, but we see that actually imports are unresolved. They're highlighted by a red line, and that means that something is wrong. And actually, we can press Alt-Enter, and just before, if you mention, I pressed Alt-Enter, and you see this little hint right below the screen. This is the plugin called Presentation Assistant. It will show all the actions that I evoke with the shortcuts, and will show shortcut combinations for Mac, Windows, and Linux. So it's very handy if you are interested in what I'm doing. Yeah, so Pycharm tells us that Django is not installed, and it allows us actually to install it right from the editor. But actually, it's not the best way to do that, because as we see right away from here, we have requirements.txt in our project. So it's better to go to Pycharm preferences, which are quite huge, but we have here a search field. Just type here requirements.txt. And here we have the field. And we go here like we want to select something, but I don't like what I see. I see the Mac OS X native file chooser. I don't like it at all, and I will show you a hint how to improve it. For that, I will use Registry Action. We'll find it by find action. type here registry, and it opens us a hidden dialog which allows us to configure very interesting properties of Pycharm. It's not always recommended so you can do that with care. And here I have ID Makefile chooser native, and I disable it. And after I close and I return to the settings and press this button, you see here much better dialog which has code completion and everything. Like I can find very easily. There are very useful buttons to go to your home, to go to the project directory. So I prefer to use this one. Also, it doesn't look native. So I select the requirements.txt, and I apply it. But before, the good idea is to create a virtual environment. With Pycharm, you can go do that also in settings. And you better not use default Python to install your requirements. You better to create a virtual environment, and you can do that right from the IDE. You just press create virtual environment, and you type here a name and select the base interpreter. But we won't do that because I have already not one, but 3 already with all packages installed. So I will choose this one. If we created a new virtual environment, after that I would just press this button to install all the packages on this virtual environment. It would require me 2 clicks, but I select already configured virtual environment to save some time. Right. So the question: who knew about registry? One person. That's amazing. So I need to show you something you don't know, and my goal will be achieved. But also, I have a stretch goal. The stretch goal, what do you think was the stretch goal? The stretch goal is that people who don't use Pycharm will start to use Pycharm, or at least they try it. But of course, that won't happen because of registry. I hope it happens because of features I will show next. So what do we have here? Actually, after we installed and configured our interpreter, we can navigate through the project. We can see what we have, and look into the code, and we can easily navigate through packages and third-party packages. No, that's not the best way. We can press navigate to declaration, and we go, and also the Django we can inspect, like imports or anything. We can go to the model and see what happens. We can see what is inherited from model. So we can do whatever we want, and when we want to return, we just use back action. So it's Alt Command left for me, and we can go back and forth, and it's very, very useful. For example, you read code, you go through the text, and you see what's Boolean field. Let's read it. Okay, then let's go back. We continue. What's datetime field? Like, we resolve to it, and you see that it happens instantly, very fast. For example, if we navigated to datetime field and we don't know where it is, where is it located? How to know that? Do you know what is the shortcut or what's the action? Actually, the action is Alt F1. It allows you to select the current file in project view. Project view is a tree to the left, and you just press enter, and you see where it is. And the second way is to look at this navigation bar, which shows you the path to this file. And there are two tips that are not very obvious. For example, when I want to inspect a project, and I very often go to some code and I press Alt F1 and then see where it is. Actually, I do a lot of clicks, and I can just press here and select auto scroll from source. And after that, when I go somewhere, let's go back. You see that it updates automatically. The project view shows automatically where I'm located. so I don't need to do it manually. So always I see the code and I see where the file is located. And the second tip, did you know that? Yes, I should I go. We are done. The second thing is that this navigation bar looks a bit cumbersome because there is duplication, some duplication. We have path here, we have a tree here, and what we can do is we can actually disable this navigation bar. We won't lose any space, but we can actually invoke it dynamically. So we can press the shortcut, it's called jump to navigation bar, and we can do whatever we want. We can go through the tree right here, we can select files here, and we can even, by the way, we can even create files. If we press shortcut for new file, we can create new file here. So it's very, very, very handy, and you even don't need, actually, if you use this pop-up navigation bar, you don't even need the project view, which you can disable by pressing Command 1. So you just disable it and you spare some space. Speaking about sparing some space, there are several ways to do that. One of the ways is, as you see, I don't have tabs, and I don't like tabs very much, so you can do that by disabling tabs in settings. So you just type here tabs, and you can select placement. Normally it is stop, and if it's stop, then you see a lot of tabs here, like not a lot of, but it can be quite many tabs, and you see that some space is wasted. And if you select here none, then you don't have tabs. Another way to spare some space on your screen is you can disable toolbar, you can disable tool buttons, you can disable status bar, and actually you can go even further, and in this configuration it won't be different from the minimal text editor you can imagine. You can enter distraction-free mode, and you will have only editor, and you can, with the shortcut, you can just enable, disable project view, and nothing distracts you. And all the actions you can invoke with a shortcut. But I don't like it very much, because in this view, there is no gutter to the left, and if I press breakpoints, for example, it's press breakpoints. So it's not very. So yeah, here that means the breakpoint. It's not very obvious for me. So I don't like this setup very much, distraction-free mode. So I try to avoid it, but I just disable tabs, and if I don't need it, I remove everything. So you can ask me if I disabled tabs, how do I navigate between files? There are several ways to do that. First one is find file action. So you just execute find file action, and you type urls.py, and you can instantly go to urls.py. And here, the second one is you can navigate not only to files, you can navigate to classes. For example, I don't know, cache or profile. Then you can actually navigate to symbols. There is another shortcut, and you enter here symbol name, and it can be, for example, test, right? And you see all the tests in your project. And if you, for example, want to find any you want to find a test in a specific class, you can type here something like test unit cache dot test. And if you, for example, think that it's something decay, so you can also search like that. It's very handy. If you don't know what you're looking for, is it symbol or it's file or class, you can use search everywhere action. It's double shift, and you just type A, and there are methods here. But you can ask, it's not very convenient because I work with 2 files with tabs I can switch easily, and how do I do it here without tabs? There is another shortcut, it's called recent files. So you can just switch between the 2, like recent files, URLs, recent files base. So you type here, you want to switch to the previous file, you go to the URL. So this is actually the substitution for the tabs. You don't need tabs, but you can still, of course, use tabs. It's okay. Right. So what do we have next? Yeah, the conventional way to search in text editors is to make full text search. That is, of course, available in Pycharm, and there is an action find and path, and it is actually this is the new dialog which was redesigned in the latest version. As you type, you see the results just in the updated in the this dialog. Yeah, so you see it here, and it works extremely fast. So because Pycharm indexes your code, this search is very fast. This project is slow, but I can show you IntelliJ IDEA, which is almost the same. This is actually the code base of IntelliJ IDEA, and I invoke here this search. For example, I write PyDebugger, and you see how fast it searches. And this is several gigabytes of code. So it's like project 17 years old project, and a lot of code, and you see that it searches instantly. PyConsole, I don't know, something. So yeah, this full text search is also available. It's very fast, very fast. Fast. I don't know. I think it's faster than grep because more better indexes are used to that. So right, we actually were able to inspect the project. Let's try to run something. So we want to find some here we have tests, and with Pycharm we can easily execute PyTests. We run tests, and you see here the test runner, the window, which is graphical, and it shows you which tests are executed, how long it took, and you can navigate by pressing F4 from this tree to the test. Also, you can, of course, rerun it, and you can rerun only failed test. But the best feature of this tree is this button, which you can miss sometimes, but it's called autotest. I will show you how it works. You just press this button, and then, for example, you start writing test empty. And you see Pycharm automatically completes code for you. And here is a question. What is the fastest way actually to go from here in Pycharm to the next line? Because you see already self was auto-completed and the brace and semicolon. So what would you do? There's a t-shirt question. Like just, for example, you can do like you can press right and then down button, no, because it will point your cursor to the last character in this line, and this line has 0 length. So yeah, you can, for example, you can press page down and enter, but it's not fast. The fastest way is to press complete current statement. So wherever you are, you can press this combination, and that's it. Yeah, and here we write something like assert. No, it's not right result. Self, and you see Pycharm completes self, and here you can see the from key, You can see the documentation, and when you go through the completion, you see all the documentation, and you can navigate for these links. But we send, and you can press Command P to see the parameters. It expects us to some command. Okay, let it be an empty command. And we write assert result equals ugly. And you see the tests are automatically executed. And we fix it, executed. And so it's a very good way to develop code. You can use also the feature, it's called split screen. It's split, oh, I always forget whether it's horizontally or vertically. Split vertically, and here you can open cache, and you can actually edit your code, and then you can edit the code you are testing. It's not very good visibility with this resolution, but if you have better resolution, it's very handy. So, okay, we wrote some code, and if you put a bit of attention to this green line, and if you press here, you will see that actually this is a version control integration, which says that these lines are new. You can roll back them, you can compare, see that they're new. Also, you can, of course, commit this test. And from here, you can do a lot of stuff. You can create a patch if you don't want commit. If you want to send it to somebody, you can run some inspections on, some checks on this file. A lot of options, and of course, you can revert it. We'll revert it. Okay. We'll disable it as we don't need the right. So yeah, and speaking about VCS, that is better to show them. Pycharm has a very comprehensive VCS integration. You have here log, which is like shows you all the differences of commits. You can actually see here the diff, and you can compare branches. Here you can select the current branch. Here you can select the branch to compare, and you see which commits are different. So you can do pretty much everything what you can do with the Git from the command line, but faster, and you don't need to remember the commands. The question, how do you actually, if you want, for example, if you have two branches and you want to see that one commit is exists in one branch and doesn't exist in another, what is the best way to do that? There is a button here which compares to branches. For example, if I select here new git log, it will show me commits from the new git log, and after I press this compare button, it will show me, it will gray it out. It means that this branch actually was merged, that it doesn't contain any commits that are absent in master. And it's very useful, for example, if you have two branches and you want to cherry pick some commits, you can just compare them. It's, I think it's my favorite feature of version control integration. Right. So I already said the word inspections. Inspections are code checks that Pycharm executes on your code. For example, this code is underlined with gray, and that means that inspection is violated, and this inspection is PEP 8. And here you see at the scroll all the inspection violations, and actually you can point mouse here and go down, and there is an other feature that's called lens. You don't need to go there, you can see it from here. And we see that PEP is actually violated a lot of times in this code, which is not good. How to fix it? we just press Reformat Code action, and it reformats the code according to the PEP 8. So it's fixed. But we still have some problems here. Let's see, what's that? Something more interesting. No. Broad. Yeah, for example, this one. It says that local variable keys value is not used. So yeah, it understands the code that builds the data flow graph in the code, and Pycharm understands that this variable is not used. We can safely remove it. And imports, what happens with imports? Some imports are also not used, and there is an action optimize imports, and we press enter, and that's it. So our imports are clear. So this file became much clearer and better than it was before. And we spent half a minute on that. That's great. So as you see, Pycharm understands your Python code very well, but it's not only about Python code. For example, here we have some JavaScript code. Let's look for it. Yes. For example, for some time, we actually go to here. And you see that we have here also inspections that say that statements are unterminated. In JavaScript, you can actually not terminate the statements with semicolon, but it's not recommended because after transpiling, after minimization, you can have some problems. So sometimes you can avoid semicolon, sometimes not. And Pycharm warns about that. And also you can fix terminated statements one by one. You can clean up the file. But what I show you is much faster. Do you know how you can fix it for the whole project, for example? That's also a T-shirt question. Anybody? There is an action called run inspection by name. Here you write unterminated statement, and you select, for example, for this, for the whole project. Okay, for the whole project, and we analyze it, and it finds 1,000 warnings. And after that, you can press terminate statement, and it will actually do that. I want to run it for the whole project. I want to show how to run it directory. Nice. So you see it added, right, this is, I want to disable that. So it added semicolons only where they are needed. And actually we fix it by doing that, by running this quick fix on the folder, fix it almost 500 cases, and we saved a lot of time. If we done that manually, it would, I don't know how much time we would spend otherwise. So, okay. Let's revert it. Why not? Right, we have here Django project. Let's do something with it. We edited some code, we fixed some tests, we look into the JavaScript. Let's look into templates. Those are Django templates, but first of all, what you do with Django project is better to go and to verify that it's set up correctly, and it's not set up correctly. So it's disabled because this Django project has non-standard layout, and Pycharm failed to detect this. Actually, this is already fixed in master, but this is a release version I use. It's not fixed here. So for this project, it's good to select it manually. And we go and we select the root of Django project manually, because the root of Django project is not here is not the root of the project. We point it to the settings and to manage PyFile and configure it. And I think that also template language. Yeah. It was too fast. I will show you again. If, for example, you don't use Django template language, you use Django template language, you can configure it in Python template language settings. Okay, so now we would like to run this project. And we do that using the thing called run configuration. So we create Django server run configuration. We call it improv server, and we run it. It says no model settings. No model settings, it's because it's not standard layout, and okay, so press this link, and it kind of works, but it actually works strange. Let's see what happens. And it says that we have unapplied migrations. How do we fix that? Do you know to fix this warning in Django? Who does Django? Yeah, cool. How to fix it? Migrate. Yeah, how to do the best way to do it in Pycharm? On the terminal. Yeah, that's another way. It's a good way. Alt. You got a T-shirt, and you both of you got T-shirts. So yeah, you press Alt R, and you have the special tool for run and manage PyCommands. How it's different from the terminal, because it shows you the help for Django commands, and actually it takes the commands from runtime. It works with custom commands, and it to show. It actually highlights you what arguments it expects, and shows you help. So we can from here, yeah, migrate also. We can from here run a migrate command, and then we restart our Django server. Okay, so it works, but it has no data. And so let's give it some data. For that, we'll use terminal. And Pycharm has integrated terminal, and you see that as we use virtual environment, it is already activated in terminal of Pycharm. And we run this command, which will actually run from the terminal manage.pytest, but it will run with a profiler and upload it to our server to our instance of the server. So let's press enter. Yeah, so uploading it works, and here we have our snapshot. Great. What do we do now? So we have some data, and you see that is a SQLite database. What can we do to see inside the database in Pycharm? Yeah, but the easiest way, you can press you can open the tab, but it will not have the database. You can just select this file and as data source. Yeah. No. And after that, see that you have your data right here. So entry. And we have here a SQL console, so we can write and yeah, so also with code completion and everything. And the nice feature of this console that you can also see the history of your. It's disabled now because we don't have history yet. But for example, if we run something, now we have the history of all our requests, which is quite handy. Okay, speaking about consoles, the SQL console is not the only console that exists in Pycharm. We have also Python console, which you just open and type everything, and you will have code completion and everything. And it has variables view, so you can see your variables easily. It's not variable. Let's do some variable. Here. Not very. Doesn't have any sense, but okay, you can run debug from here, right from the console, and well, it can be also quite handy. One thing that is very useful is you see that it is Django console that was executed, and that is the startup script. And in Pycharm, you can actually, in the setting, no, not everybody knows about that. You can go to the settings, and you can fix the startup script. For example, you can import here your models. If you want to, you can do something, and it will be executed in the console. What is the best way? For example, if you want to tinker with something, to write some code, but console is it probably will take more than one line. Console is not the best option. What do you do in that case? Yeah, if something temporary, so you just want to write several lines and you actually don't know how to name this stuff, and as yeah, but okay, you get a T-shirt. It's a Scratch file. Scratch. Yeah, actually, that's also of software engineering. It doesn't require you to name the thing, so you don't need to come up with a name. If you don't use Scratch, you end up creating something like temp py or test py or something. I don't know, test xxxpy. But with Scratch file, you just yeah, you press a shortcut. If you don't remember a shortcut, you use find action, you use Scratch file, and here you select Python, and you can take any code. For example, let's take this code which generates a list of prime numbers. Here we can write it, and of course we can execute the Scratch. It does not print anything because we don't print it, so we write it. Look, dot print. It's called postfix completion. So now we can write those primes. If we want to write them several times, we duplicate line by pressing Command D, or if we want to remove them, we remove the lines. If we want to switch the lines, what is the best way to do that? Yeah, Shift Command, a T-shirt. Yeah, shift command, so you don't copy paste because it takes too much time. You just move the line if you want, and yeah, you can remove it. If you want, for example, to select, you press Command W, Control W, and you select, and you write something like rhymes. And yeah, in case it's Python 3.6, you can write it something like that. Right. Will work. And you see here we have code completion for Python as well. And it's called language injection. Actually, it's not only f strings. They are not somehow exceptional. You can, for example, do this for JSON. You can create a line, and here you write name, Dmitry, and you say inject language JSON, and you have a syntax highlighting for JSON and regex. The same thing. You just inject line regex, Python regex. Who knew about that? Cool. I know that you know. Hmm? Yeah, it's very useful. Yeah, and for SQL, yeah, for databases, it's the same thing, yeah. And right, so we can do everything we want with Scratch files. We can run them, as I showed you. We can debug them. For example, we press breakpoint, we can debug it, and you see that our values are inlined into the editor. When you go, you actually, yeah, you see how they change, and debugger is separate one, so it's possible to talk now about debugger only. There are a lot of features, and if you want to learn about it more, you can look for getting started guides, and maybe for EuroPython we will make a special tutorial to how to use debugger and all its features. It's quite a big topic. And except that, also you can run coverage. If it's test, you can profile it. For example, you can run profiler. No, it doesn't work. Why? Because it doesn't have samples. If we write here a million, example, a million, let's delete that. Rich profile. See that it's vmprof profile, and we have a call graph, we have call tree, and which is more important, we have here highlighting right in the editor what we found. So if we decided, for example, that this code is good for us, that we want to save it, now we can save as, or we can copy. Here we can go to and create new project, for example. We create new project, new folder, primes, and we see if we save it like that. And after that, it's a good thing to do is to open this project, primes, and we open it in current window. We can edit. If we, for example, want it to be the module of this project, we enable this, and it will be opened in this workspace. If it's separate, we just open it. Let's close everything. Now, what I'll show you, the last thing I'll show you, is, for example, for some reason, we decided to, no, it's not okay. Python 2, it will be Python 2, yeah. For some reason, we want to run it Pycharm, remote interpreters. Yeah, we want to run it on background. How do we do it? We have special spot for background. We can just initialize background in the local folder, and it will take the default virtual machine, and then we will go and configure our interpreter. And it's here, add remote, and it's background. We'll take now some, it's over. Start the background. Slower than Docker, eventually. Yeah, let's test it. Yeah, exactly. Does mean interpreter is interpreter that working with a local copy, but you run it remote machine. It can be a container, it can be a backend box, it can be physically remote machine, and all the execution you do with that remote machine. But when you, for example, okay, yeah. So when you do code completion or navigate through the third-party libraries that are installed in that interpreter, you actually work with the caches which are taken from that locally. You have best of two worlds. So you work fast, you have result on your local machine, and you can execute your code on the remote machine. So you don't need, for example, you can have Windows, and you can work with Linux libraries, which is sometimes impossible to install on Windows. Yeah, it works. So after we set up that, we can run it, and you see that it is executed on the background. And the same way we can debug it, and we will debug it in the background. Yeah, and we can use external libraries. It will be very fast. Latency will be zero because they are stored actually locally, but they are synchronized with the remote background box. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Game over. For your attention. And if you have questions, we have time for questions.
Is there any question?
AI. And for the split screen, you have showed that you can split in many boxes. I see that it's not possible now to change the dimension of the split. Have you some plans to?
What do you mean? You can do something.
Many times I use this, and it's difficult because I want to change, enlarge, reduce some parts because the code is, and it's not possible.
You mean what is change the dimension? For example, you can
like I want the left part to be enlarged and reduce the left part. Yes, you can do with the mouse. And some odd case for this, I see that there is some work on this, and I want to know if
shortcut. You mean?
Yes.
Yeah, there is a shortcut. I don't remember. There is a shortcut. Good question. Stretch to left. Why it's disabled? Why it's disabled? I think that should be it. But it's disabled. You mean that it doesn't work, right?
Yeah, I've tried it.
Let's try that. Yeah. It's a nice point. So you can do it here with shortcut, right?
Yes.
But you cannot. Yeah, okay. I'll look into that. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Yeah, but you can do that with shortcut. That's cool. Super cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, now everybody knows, yeah.
Maybe it's useful the structure view to show, and then Zen typing for HTML templates for Django programmers.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'll show. Let's unsplit. All. Yeah, for that it's better to open our Django project. Yeah, there is a view that's called structure. And here you have all the classes and functions and methods, and you can navigate easily. It's very handy. And another way to see the structure is not this one, not this one. Wait a second. I think I forgot the. Let's find shows. File structure, yeah, this one. Yeah, I like this more. So this is handy when you learn the code. When you read the code, you can navigate. But when you write the code, it's better to navigate with Command F12. And you go, for example, cache protocol, and you're there. And then cache factory, and you're here. So this one is good. And yeah, emit is like, is it like enabled? I think it's enabled. Font with tab. Yeah, something like that. But I actually don't use it that much myself. But that's the way to yeah, when you want to work fast with the big amounts of text, this is the feature. Another feature is multiple carats, actually. For example, you have this, I don't know, and you can create multiple carats, and yeah, I don't know. But it's good for HTML, but I strictly don't recommend to do that in Python code, because in Python code, if you want the most times when you want to change a lot of things at the same time, it means that you need to invoke refactoring. So. And not multiple carats, because refactorings for Python works very well.
In Pylint, usually, if you want to silence some strange stuff, you put a specific comment like Pylint disable this stuff, and it doesn't complain anymore. Do you have something similar, for example, for instructing Pycharm regarding, for example, where to find a specific class, module, whatever it is, or if there is a typo in the identifier, you know that it's right, but it's annoying to see every time and you want to silence.
Yeah, if you have some suggestion or inspection which bugs you, you don't want to see it, or if you want to do anything with that, the way to fix it always is to press Alt-Enter, and then you will have options whether Pycharm will suggest you how to fix it, or it can actually you can actually ignore it. You can edit the inspection profile, or for some inspections you can. It's not PEP 8, I think, but yeah, let's, for example, for typos. The typo, yeah, we see that it's a typo. We can add this word to the dictionary, or we can just suppress that. We can separate that for this class. We can disable inspection. So, and it works for all the inspections and.
That's okay for me, but for example, if I use Git, no, and I have to share my code with other developers, I don't share my .idea folder, so I think they cannot see the same benefit.
First of all, you can actually share the dictionaries. It's possible to commit them with the project. It's the way to proceed. And there is a thing, if you want to share anything, there is a thing called settings repository. Plugin that actually helps you to share settings between different installations.
Just a side note, some of the stuff you can switch off are done with a comment, so the comment can be committed. For if you have a try except, generic except, Pycharm complaints it's too generic, you can suppress and it's just a comment. So you can commit the file because it's a comment, it's not harmful.
Yeah, correct. Suppressions are inserted in the file. Thank you very much. Thank you. It was very nice. Thank you.